The McIntyre Ranch was founded in 1894 by William H. McIntyre, and it was run by their family for many years until Billy McIntyre passed away, and then he sold it to Ralph Thrall Sr., who had worked for him and had a really good relationship with him. He passed it on to his son, Ralph Jr., and Ralph III now manages it for his estate. We run about 3,000 mother cows, and then we keep their calves back as yearlings and run them as yearlings and sell them in the fall. We basically grow grass, but we use the cows to harvest the grass and then sell the cows.
The Thrall family have always been very conservation-minded when it came to grazing. They practice rest rotational grazing, which is a standard practice for conserving grass.
The McIntyre Ranch is large enough that we're able to save a few fields for winter grazing. Our cattle are able to graze all winter long without any supplement feed.
One of the high points of my discussions with Ralph III goes back a number of years, and it had to do with the operation itself. At that time, the ranch had just luscious grass. And I said, you got the capability of feeding way more cattle than what you currently are. Why wouldn't you expand your herd? And his response to me was, this isn't about the cattle, it's about grass management. It's about a sustainable, long-term vision for the ranch.
Rough fescue is Alberta's provincial grass. It was the dominant grass of both foothills and parkland regions of the province. When I started my career in the late 70s, grasslands were actually still considered a kind of wasteland. The Census of Canada described them as other unimproved lands. And that's changed. We now see them as not only supporting industries like ranching, but also providing a lot of ecological services, storage of carbon, biodiversity, and that sort of thing.
Ralph has taken great efforts to make sure that through his management of the ranch, that it is well taken care of. A couple of years ago, I took my son out for a ride on the quad. We seen a young grizzly bear, a fairly good-sized herd of elk, good mule deer, and good whitetail. It's not very many places you can go where you can see that kind of wildlife all in the same pasture.
Some of the work that I did in 1987 for the Alberta Bird Atlas project was very important in establishing the high biodiversity value of that ranch. Over 130 species of birds, some rare, even endangered species.
366 different plant species, and a couple dozen of those are rare or uncommon species.
Nature Alberta declared some years ago that the McIntyre Ranch was nationally significant.
I met Ralph a long time ago in 1993. I had just begun my PhD, and I was looking for a field site where I could work with both white-tailed deer and mule deer. The ranch was just such a fantastic place to do research. I was literally able to sit at certain vantage points and be able to watch coyotes as they hunted deer. And this is really unprecedented. There's a few cases in Africa on the savannah where you could do this sort of thing, but not really anywhere else. Ralph and the Thralls welcomed me to do this work and really supported me and later my students. And they also took care of many logistics involved with living and working at the ranch.
They invite people from the public to come in and participate in various ranch activities. They have ongoing conservation programs out there that have had long-term results. They have had a no hunting policy on the property since its inception, and that has allowed for people to enjoy things that are hard to see otherwise.
So there's a number of things that I appreciate about Ralph Thrall III's tenure as steward of the McIntyre Ranch. He has, while maintaining his ranching operation, he has done it in a way that applies the ecological principles of range management, maintaining the health and function of the landscape.
A general tenet of the UN's Principles for Responsible Management Education talks about the needs of us as educators to make sure our students can become the future generators of sustainable value, both for business and society. It's the leadership and vision that has been demonstrated today by Ralph Thrall III, by his family before him, and the McIntyres before them, would seem to be a very good example of this principle in practice.
I think Ralph is an outstanding recipient of this honor because he and more broadly the Thrall family and McIntyre Ranch, they're really doing a lot to instill the interest in preserving the prairie grasslands for the future.